Knife safety. It's no joke. Let's get into it. Go ahead and cut it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Leanne. Oh, there you go. Pull that knife this way. There you go. You want to do corn? Okay, the next rule for knife safety is to always use the right size tool for the job. I need to open up this tiny little, oh yeah, look at that, battery thing. This is the TRC South Pole made out of Lithuania. This is probably not the appropriate size knife to, I don't want to even risk that. So away goes the South Pole, and we will go ahead and try the Spyderco Man Bug. So as a good safety rule, use things that are probably of appropriate size for the job. So just to get this little battery out, we'll go ahead and do that. There you go. In addition to using the right size tool for the job at hand, it's also important to use the right size tool for the hands at hand. This is a medium-large hand right here, and it fits the cold steel large espada just fine in many different positions that are safe. On the other hand, it doesn't fit the hands very well for the nondescript biracial doll. You know, I just don't see how she's going to be able to handle this thing. And in fact, the knife's just about as big as her. So I think that would not be an appropriate one. I think maybe a more appropriate knife for the nondescript biracial doll would probably be this Spyderco Bug. I'll go ahead and open it for her. But if you take a look, I think it fits her hand pretty well. And oh, look at that. Yep. Kind of fits much better. So use the appropriate size knife. So this is a slip joint knife, very similar to probably one that your granddad or great-granddad used. It basically is not a locking knife. It relies on a spring back here, and it just does provide back pressure for that. A half stop is very useful, so buy a slip joint with a half stop because there is some modicum of safety that if it were to release, at least it'll basically intercept it at that point in time. The one drawback really of a slip joint knife is that it really is a two-handed knife. You can't really deploy it with one hand. Well, actually, that's not true. I did develop one way to deploy this knife with just one hand, and that's the less desirable way of deploying this knife with one hand. But like I said, it's really only safe to do with two hands. Speaking of safety, this knife is a balisong, illegal to carry in most states, but very fun to play in pretty much all the states. This does in fact have a live blade. Ooh, almost got myself there. It's a very good idea to identify for yourself which is the safe handle to play with and which one is not. Red, not safe. Black, safe. Of course, you don't play with knives, but it is kind of fun to flip these around. And in fact, even the better safety mechanism really is to utilize a trainer. If you kind of take a look at this, this is a knife that is not sharp. And if you accidentally do something that would cut your hand by handling, for example, the sharp side, I forgot the bite side, because it will bite into you. The trainer is the way to start. And by the way, when you start playing with balisongs, there's one more very important safety feature, and that's to buy a lot of these things, because it's not if you're going to cut yourself, it's when you're going to cut yourself. Okay, it's always very important to keep your knife sharp. If you try to cut a tomato or an apple or carrot or something like that with a knife that is not sharp, as a demonstration, I will go ahead and try it with this butter knife. It's basically going to squish stuff out, explode it, and you I'm getting acid on me. Oh, it's just ascorbic acid. Okay, that's not that bad. But in any case, obviously it could slip off, and even if you're holding it properly, could come up against you. So you always want to be utilizing a sharp knife. Keep your knives sharp. You know, you want something that can cut laser thin if you can, especially when you're cooking food. So sharp knives are safer knives. Don't play with knives. They're totally a tool. This is not something to be played with. it's just not one of those things that you should be really playing with these knives. So that would be an obvious thing that you don't want to do. But, if you must, you can fidget a little bit. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Back to on focus. Don't play with knives. Use them only as intended, and deploying them properly. Don't try experimental things. This is an out the front knife. A lot of people think that if so again, it's under spring pressure and you release that pressure. A lot of people think if you put it up to somebody, it's gonna stab them. No, it's not. There's always a safety release mechanism. So actually, OTS, out the front knives, are extremely safe. And even though you might be able to play with it in such a way that it sounds like Einklang music from Amadeus Mozart, you probably shouldn't. So this is an out the side automatic. It means that the blade doesn't come straight out here. It actually releases. It's under tension from a torsion spring, and you release that button plunge, and the spring shoots it out. So as far as safety goes on your OTSs or out the side, you want to make sure that you keep your fingers on here. If you don't, it will actually just pop out of your hand. So a very good rule of thumb is to go ahead and put your fingers over that pocket clip, then depress that, and swing, kaboom. Then you'll get a lot safer one. Ooh, that's kind of fun. And the final piece of knife safety I've got to say is don't play tricks on friends. This is a knife that looks rather innocuous. In fact, you don't see how to deploy it. Somebody might try to pull this out, but it's called the Magic Whiskers, and it has a special deployment. It's actually an out the side automatic, which you just saw, and this is not something to play pranks on people because, very sharp knives, all the other combinations with them, high torsion spring, I hope this knife safety video was useful, if not interesting. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And especially remember all the rules of knife safety. Like, they're not a playing device. It's really to be used as a tool. Use the right sized tool, most certainly for, any particular scenario that you're going for. Make sure that you have it sized right for your hands, the right task, it's sharp, all those things. And, just really remember, knife safety first. If this was of use, I appreciate the like and subscribe. Have a great day.